Hello guys and welcome. So I did something today which I've wanted to do for a really long time, which was to effectively document and write down nearly pretty much every game I can remember having played in my life, and also the games which I've either skipped over and I want to revisit or haven't come out yet that I do want to play through. I will leave a link in the description to this list. But I thought I would share it with you guys. If you have any recommendations for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And remember to like and subscribe for more videos. But anyway, let's get to it. Now, I am Mithrie. If you don't know who I am, welcome to my YouTube channel. And I've been playing games now for more than 25 years. I'm 33 years old now. And it was fun to write this list. It took me like a good 3-4 hours to write it all down. But yeah, so let's go through the list. So, my favorite game of all time, by far, is Legend of Zelda 64 Ocarina of Time, which is why it's at the very top of the list. And it was, I feel, 20 years ahead of its time, and it was just amazing. And Final Fantasy 7, my first Final Fantasy game, loved it. And then 8 was, I thought, better, 9 was better, 10 I didn't think was as good, or 12, and 13 I didn't finish them. 14 1.0 was a disaster. So you see from, in my opinion, from like from 10 onwards, it was going downhill. But they really fixed the series again with 15. So 15 has brought it back up to where it was before. Then Final Fantasy 1 and 6, I need to revisit. And 1, 2, 6. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I do want to play them one day. Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, loved them. Infamous and Infamous 2, loved them. I need to play Second Son. Heavy Rain, loved it. I'm looking forward to Detroit Become Human, which is made by the same developer. Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm, love them. Interactive movie type games, but very, very fun to play. Last of Us, one of the best games ever made. Now, the ratings I've given here are to do with the genre of game. So, and what I felt about them. So, for example, Zelda 64, I feel, is pretty much the best action RPG I've ever played. And then Final Fantasy 9, I feel, is one of the best RPGs I've ever played. And the reason I've given 14 a 10 is because it's the best MMO I've ever played. I haven't played any MMO that's more entertaining. Like World of Warcraft was pretty damn close, and I played World of Warcraft a lot longer. But yeah, but we'll come to World of Warcraft when we get there. Then the Uncharted series, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and Lost Legacy, I felt that they got better and better. So the original Uncharted was good, and then 2 better, 3 better, 4 best, and Lost Legacy was a nice way to revisit the series. The Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise of the Tomb Raider, I feel they're the best Tomb Raider games they've released. The reboot of Tomb Raiders have been incredible. I've loved playing through them. And by the way, guys, I have also indicated if I've actually finished a game or not finished. So is my opinion based on the full game or just on like a bit of it, essentially? And then Mario Odyssey, one of the best, well, pretty much the best platformer ever made. I collected even 650 moons out of 800, but they are going to release more stuff for the game, so I might play the DLC. And then Zelda Breath of the Wild, I put 120 plus hours into that game. I haven't really done the DLC, but absolutely loved it. Amazing game. That's why I gave it 10 out of 10. Mario Kart 8, wonderful if you play it with other people. If you play it alone, not really all that, but with other people is incredible fun. Fire Emblem Warriors, it was okay. I mean, I've never played really other Fire Emblem games, so a lot of people who came to the stream and saw that I played Fire Emblem saying it was nothing like the original series, and it's like a Dynasty Warriors version of Fire Emblem. So, but like I said, I thought it was alright. I played through it, I finished it. Bit grindy, but it was fun. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, amazing game. Absolutely loved it. I put 70, 80 hours into that game. Brilliant game. Ni no Kuni, one of the best RPGs I've ever played. Great story, great world, great characters, great everything. So I'm looking forward to Ni no Kuni 2. And very emotional as well. I did cry a couple of times in that game. Ori and the Blind Forest, I cried in the first 10 minutes. Very, very fun 2D platformer. Brilliant game, Ori and the Blind Forest. Amazing soundtrack as well. It's got one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a game. Then Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, which it was my childhood, basically. I played them on the Mega Drive or Genesis, as it was called in the US. So, yeah. Just Cause 3. The worst game I've ever played in my life. Is a disgrace. I actually bought the game, hated it, returned it. The publisher sent me the game for free, played it again, hated it again. I rage quit that game twice. I've never rage quit a game like more than once before. So when it first came out, maybe it's been patched since then, who knows. But when it came out as poorly optimized, there was a moment when I literally emptied a clip into someone's head and they didn't die. They didn't even care that I was shooting them. So it is the worst game I've ever played in my life. It was absolute disgrace. They Are Billions, wonderful game. I'm currently playing that every single day right now. If you don't know what it is, it's a real-time strategy game, zombie survival. And it is very, very challenging because the zombies are relentless. That's why it's called They Are Billions, because the idea is there's a few humans left, but the zombies, they are billions. So, yeah. And Metal Gear Solid. So I played Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and a little bit of 5. I didn't play the ones in between. Loved the original one. I thought 2 was good as well when we were playing a Snake. I didn't really like the rest of the game with Raiden. The problem with those games, though, they're very, very short. So if you skip all the cutscenes, you can finish the original Metal Gear Solid in like an hour, and you can finish Metal Gear Solid 2 in like 2 hours. So it's a 7-hour game, Metal Gear Solid 2, with 5 hours of cutscenes and 2 hours of gameplay. And then Zone of the Enders, I played through it once. I only bought it so that I can get the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo disc, but I finished it, so it was fun. Neo, very, very fun. I really enjoyed it. So Neo, it's like Dark Souls with samurai. So, but it felt very, very rewarding. Like, I didn't really get far in Dark Souls, the original one, because I thought it was too hard. So I just ended up, the game defeated me. That's it. So I will try and go back into Dark Souls when it gets remastered. Not that it will be any easier, but at least I won't have any optimization problems. And but Neo, I absolutely loved. I did finish it, so I thought it was a very good game. Dark Souls 3, I've only got 2 bosses down, but I've barely played it. I only played it a couple of hours, so I will get into that. Prey, I had problems streaming that just because my PC is too weak. So I don't have any opinion of it, good or bad. Simply, my PC is too weak. My graphics card needs upgrading. When I do, I'll go back to Prey and get an opinion. Persona 5. Now, I played it a good 4 or 5 hours, but the problem is that Atlas has put a restriction, I might spell Atlas wrong, to what you can and can't stream. Now, it's mostly at the end of the game that you can't stream, but when I play RPGs and I share it with my audience, with my live stream, I want to be able to share the entire experience of the game, not just a bit of it. I don't want to get 3/4 of the way through and then just stop. That would be depressing. So I do want to play that game, but because there's restrictions on it, and because I spend pretty much all of my spare time live streaming, I don't know if I'll ever have time for it. And then Witcher 3, I had, when it originally came out, my graphics card couldn't play the game. Then one of you guys, one of my fans, actually bought me a PlayStation 4 and the game on PlayStation 4 to play it there. But it just, what I feel with Witcher 3 is that it's too good of a game to play on mediocre settings. So I do want to play it. If I get a new graphics card, I do want to play it on the highest setting and enjoy it the way it was meant to be played, how they developed it to be played. So I'm still like reserving judgment on Witcher 3. Nier Automata. Now I've said there, amazing soundtrack, very fun combat. I only finished ending 1. I know there's multiple endings, and the different endings are from different character viewpoints. But generally, when I was playing it, I thought it was very weird. It was one of the weirdest games I've ever played in my life. It was just bizarre. So, but at least I finished the first ending. Horizon Zero Dawn, absolutely love it. Incredible graphics, awesome soundtrack, like I've said. Very fun combat. Like, I absolutely loved playing with bow and arrow and shooting at the robots and using all the different traps and pretty much everything I had available to try and take these robot dinosaurs down. And some of them were, like, literally, I think one of the hardest bosses in the game, you're effectively one-on-one against the T-Rex. So, but it was incredibly satisfying. Gravity Rush, I played through the first one. Interesting game, comic book style. You change gravity. That's the idea of the game. So gravity could be up, down, left, right, and so on. So it can make you feel a bit sort of nauseous, but if you get into the game, it's very, very fun. I finished it in about 12 hours, the original one, so it's very good. I do need to go back to Gravity Rush 2. I played it for like an hour, and I switched it off, but that's because I had just played Gravity Rush 1. Borderlands 2, interesting shooter. The mistake I made with Borderlands 2 and with Warframe is I went into the game with people who were over-leveled, and they basically killed everything before I even got there. So eventually I will play them again, but by myself or with people who are level 1, just so they don't destroy everything before I get there. World of Final Fantasy came out of nowhere, to be honest. It's because they announced it at E3, I think in 2015, just before they announced 7 Remake. So when the 7 Remake was announced, then World of Final Fantasy for me was pretty much forgotten. But when it came out, I tried the demo. I thought it was really fun, and then I finished the whole game. It is really, really good. So I said in the comments, capturing Pokemon. It's not really capturing Pokemon. You just capture other monsters and you use them to help you out and stuff. But it's really, really fun. Destiny 1, I thought it was alright. I played Destiny 1 just to get ready for Destiny 2. So just to get used to the concept and so on. Now, Destiny 1, it was alright, but I understand from people who played the game that it was originally like a blank canvas, and then with the DLC, they made it better and better and better. Now, the problem was, when Destiny 2 came out, I got bored with that concept very, very quickly. So I only played it for a couple of hours when it finally came out. I switched it off and never played it again. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. Maybe not. We'll see. Maybe I'll go back to do the story. Ys 8 was the most fun game I played in 2017. Absolutely amazing game. The idea of Ys 8 is basically you are marooned on a deserted island with a crew that have been shipwrecked, essentially. They're not really a crew, they're just passengers on a ship. And they have to work together to survive the island they're on and then eventually escape. And for that reason, everything you do in the game feels useful. It feels great. The combat is really fun because if you press a button just as an attack hits you, you can automatically dodge it. But the attacks come in really quickly. So if you get the timing down for dodge, 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 it feels very, very satisfying. Knowing that it's your skill that's keeping you alive rather than just over big numbers or stats or whatever, or high armor or defense. So there's a lot of skill in the game, but it's very, very fun. And there's also like parallel time zones. So you have the past and the present sort of going hand in hand, and you see both, and you even go between the two different time zones at some point in the game as well. So I thought that was really interesting. So that's why I gave it 10 out of 10. Loved everything about it. The soundtrack was great. Absolutely loved it, and so on. Now, Ys Origins was, I believe, equivalent to Ys 6 in the series. Very fun. Loved it. It's just traveling, fighting your way up a tower to try and save the goddesses. The bosses were very challenging, but I finished the game and it was very, very fun. And then the Assassin's Creed series. Now, I've played the original Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, Black Flag, Syndicate, and Origins. I didn't play 3 or Unity or Rogue or the ones in between, but I played all of those, the ones I've listed, and love them. I love the Assassin's Creed series. I love how it builds. I love the combat. I love everything about it. So one of my favorite series, Assassin's Creed, and I need to come back to Assassin's Creed Origins at some point. Now, Diablo 3, very fun, very satisfying. I loved slaughtering, zillions and billions of zombies, but when you start ramping it up and you start doing Paragon Point farming and blah, 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 you realize very quickly it's just exactly the same, just with bigger numbers. So, and for that reason, I just didn't bother sticking around too long, but I did love playing it. I loved, it was very fun to play Diablo 3. And I probably will check out the next expansion when it comes out as well. World of Warcraft, I played that for 8 years. Very good. I thought the original game was amazing. I thought Burning Crusade was good. I thought Wrath of the Lich King was good. I thought Cataclysm was good. And then when Mists of Pandaria came out, it became too grindy. It became too focused on daily quests and stuff like that. And so I sort of took a step back from the game. I started playing Final Fantasy 14. But then I played Legion, and I basically skipped Warlords of Draenor. And Legion is very, very good, very fun, but the same problem. Maybe it's just the way Blizzard design games, is that the end game can just be the same thing, just with bigger numbers. Like Mythic +1, Mythic +7, you know, it's like, no thank you. I've already done it, I don't need to do it again. Blade and Soul, very fun, PvP focused game, but it was very, very good. It was a nice distraction from Final Fantasy for a while. And free to play as well, so you can check it out. And what's great about it is that every single class is basically DPS. So when you're queuing for dungeons, it's just a case of first come, first serve, you know, and all the dungeon queues are really quick for that reason. You don't have to wait ages for the tank or ages for a heal or anything like that. And it is interesting, so I thought it was worth playing. Aeon, I thought at the time, I'm talking about the original Aeon that originally came out, like it says here, 2009. I played that. For me, too grindy, too difficult, so I didn't bother. And the Rift as well. I'm talking about the original release of Rift. It was basically World of Warcraft 3.0. So because I was playing World of Warcraft so much of the time, I was like, this is a big rip-off. I might as well go back to playing WoW. And Black Desert Online, same issue. Too grindy. It's boring. It's like, I understand that people love it and love grinding the end game and so on. But I can't handle that. I can't handle the mindless grinding. I need story. I need more to a game than that, especially an RPG. Riders of Icarus. Now, I was actually having a lot of fun with that game. Combat's really fun. It's always interesting to explore a new world in an MMO. But the problem is that the game just didn't work. So it worked the first couple of times I played it. Then it started giving me error messages. It wouldn't load anymore. And it didn't matter how many times I went back to the developer, I couldn't get the game to run ever again. And because I played it more than 2 hours, I wasn't able to get my money back either. So, like, just rip all that money I spent on the game. But otherwise, I wish it worked. Otherwise, would have more positive things to say about it. No Man's Sky. Now, I thought it was fun, generally, as a space survival game. Just go to each of the planets, see what you find, and explore some more. Maybe upgrade your airship and blah, blah, blah. But it becomes very repetitive very quickly. And finishing the game and getting to the end zone and so on, it's not really worth it. But it was entertaining. I did still put a good 30, 40 hours into the game before I finally quit. But when it originally came out, it was so poorly optimized, most people couldn't even run the game. The only reason I was able to run it is because my CPU is so overly powerful that it was able to, you know, bust its way through the game. Let's see. Rocket League, very fun. Football with cars, very difficult to control, very fun with friends. Simple as that. Portal Knights is basically Minecraft with Zelda combat and much better graphics. I never really played Minecraft because it looked a bit too primitive for my liking. So I really enjoyed Portal Knights. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. I did put a good like 15, 20 hours into that game. I Am Setsuna is they said like a dedication to old RPGs like Chrono Trigger and stuff. I liked it. I didn't finish it, but I did get probably about 3/4 of the way through. Maybe I'll finish it one day. It was interesting. BioShock, I died about 20 times in the first level and then I just deleted the game. Now, I didn't quit it because it was bad. I quit it because I sucked at the game. So maybe one day I'll go back to it. Devil May Cry, I finished the first one. I didn't play any of them after that. Very fun, hack and slash, sort of interesting combat and music and so on. I don't really remember there being a story, to be honest, but it was fun to play. And maybe one day I'll actually check them out again. Now, I don't really have an opinion on those sort of games, but they're just fun to pick up and play every now and then. Kingdoms and Castles is basically a base building game. Think SimCity or City Skyline or whatever, but it's very, very basic. So simply, you build a kingdom, you have to have farms or orchards or whatever for food. You need to defend yourself if you put on the higher difficulty, because you might be invaded by dinosaurs or Vikings. Otherwise, very fun. You could lose many hours to the game, and I enjoy it. And it's only like $10 on Steam, so why not? Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy is pretty much the only Pokemon game I ever played. And I wasn't really into Pokemon at the time, so I literally used Pikachu to like win the whole game, essentially. But I finished it, so that's why it's on the list. Splinter Cell on the original Xbox, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Really good story, really good combat, and so on. I like the fact that one of the missions, I think halfway through, you actually have to break into the CIA headquarters, even though you are a CIA agent. So you're like breaking into your own headquarters to find something out, which I thought was really interesting. Pandora Tomorrow, it was basically, you know, it kind of built on the game, but not that much. So that's why I gave it a lesser score than the original game. Abzu is one of those journey type games. So the 3 journey games I got on here are Abzu, Journey, obviously, and Valley. So the idea of those sort of games is you just travel from beginning to end. You take in beautiful sights, play really chill music, and makes you think about life, essentially. So good. I liked it. I finished it once. Origami, liked it. It's like a cel-shaded stealth ninja assassinate, get revenge on all these people who killed you sort of game. So I thought it was fun. I played through that. Batman Telltale series, very fun. Just a different viewpoint of the same story we know with Batman. Nothing more need to be said. Worth playing once. City Skyline. So basically, like I said, base builder, very, very, very detailed. So you can go as far as, because I've seen videos where people spend time even arranging the parks and how the trees are laid out and so on. And you have to worry about waste disposal, electricity, and all this other stuff. But I feel sometimes that it might be, for me personally, it might be too much. It might be too detailed for it to remain fun. That's why I preferred Kingdoms and Castles, because it was very basic, just build a base and survive. Whereas City Skyline was too much in that regard. But it was fun. It's fun either way to sort of make a kingdom and try and make it successful and build more complex structures as you go along and so on. Red Alert, one of my favorite games as a kid, real-time strategy game. It's the idea is simply that you go into the... Einstein makes a time machine. He goes into the past and he eliminates a key figure of World War II. I won't say his name, but then the history changes. And therefore you play effectively an alternate reality to World War II. And you have to... You again fight as either the Allies or the Reds. And you need to win the war, basically. So it's very, very, very interesting. But I loved it just because of all the elements to it. It's pretty much the first RTS game I played, and it still left an impression on me even until now, more than 20 years later. Firewatch by Campo Santo, very fun game, interactive movie type game, very fun. There's no combat, there's no anything. You're basically just watching the game and you're controlling bits of it. But it was very fun to play. I really enjoyed playing it at least once. Until Dawn, survival horror game. The choices you make in Until Dawn affect whether characters live or die. Graphics were good, but it needs... I think it was let down by the system it was on, basically, like the original PlayStation 4. And but whatever. I think they've been working on it and patching it for PlayStation 4 Pro and so on. But it was very interesting, and recognized some of the characters in it, like the cheerleader from Heroes, you know, Save the Princess, Save the World, if you've seen the show, and so on. So it was very fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Until Dawn. Evil Within 2, I actually bought the game with the hope that I would actually be scared, but it is the opposite of scary. It is, because it's open world, it's so easy to get... You have like a million directions to escape from most situations, and there isn't that many jump scares in the game either, but it was fun to play at least once. I finished it in about 12 hours in one sitting. And then after that, I went to... When I played Red Alert, because I loved Red Alert so much, I thought I would go back and check out the original series. So I played the original Command & Conquer. I enjoyed it. It was alright. But it was kind of old. It was old even for then. So it was old for 1996. So... You can imagine how old it is now, basically. Like, you have the entire screen and you might see about 50 pixels on it. But it was fun either way. Then I was really, really waiting for the sequel to Red Alert, which was Tiberian Sun. And it was basically the same thing, except with aliens and alien planets and, like, glowy nuclear ore rather than just mining and so on. So I hated it that direction, because Red Alert was more, you know, World War II, whatever, whereas... Tiberian Sun was a whole new direction I just didn't like, so I sort of binned the series after that. The original Deus Ex, loved it. I thought it was absolutely great. The idea simply is that you are an android and you can enhance yourself. So you can either, but you have certain choices you can make. So, for example, one of the choices you make when you do your upgrades, you can either be super fast or run silently. And you would have to choose what's more important to you. You could only be one or the other. You couldn't be both. You had to make those key choices. And it was that choice of combat style which I really, really liked. And the choices you would make in the game would affect things to a degree. So, for example, when you're first going into the first base and you're running around, if you're caught running into the ladies' room, then the boss will tell you off. Like, he will say, please don't go into the ladies' room. People have been complaining, la, la, la. So that level of detail for the time I thought was great. And it was just a really fun game. It was really good. It's another one of those games where you think you're fighting for the good guys, but need not say more. Play the game and you might like it. Dishonored, I didn't get far enough into it, so I need to revisit it. So I'm going to reserve judgment on that. Dragon Ball Xenoverse, it was fun. It's repetitive, so I didn't finish it. Dying Light. Now, Dying Light stressed the hell out of me. The reason why, it's a zombie game, but the zombies are actually very, very difficult to kill. Like, you will run out of resources or weapons before you even kill 5 zombies. And if they jump on you, they might kill you quickly unless you fight them off you and so on. So the best option generally is to just run. But because of that, it can trigger your fight or flight hormone quite a lot. That's why I said it's incredibly stressful game. But it was very, very fun. Absolutely loved it. You know, and even at the ending, of course, when they make you run through flipping thousands of zombies at once. But you have to just run and run and run, not look back and hope you survive. So it was very fun to finish. I didn't really do the expansion, so I wish I did. And then Skyrim. Now, I know that a lot of people like Skyrim. I hated it. I thought it sucked. It was so glitchy. I couldn't finish it even if I wanted to finish it. One of the quests I was on in the main story bugged. I couldn't go back to the game. I wasn't prepared to start the game again just to fix this one bug. So because of the glitchiness, I say no to Skyrim. Hated it. And then the special edition came out and they showed one thing in the trailers of how it would look. And then when the game actually came out and I ramped up to max settings, it didn't even look close to that. So again, I just binned it. I thought, screw this. So... and I highly doubt I will revisit it, to be honest. Fallout 4, great game. You know, loved it. I put hundreds of hours into it. Loved exploring, loved building up lots of bases, having the different factions fight against each other. You can choose which ones to ally with and so on. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Far Cry and the series and Far Cry Primal and eventually Far Cry 5. I just need to revisit. I haven't really given the time of day. So maybe one day I will. Final Fantasy Type 0, fun, great song, you know, I said, fun combat, great soundtrack and so on. The problem is when you have 20 characters you need to level up separately, it becomes too grindy. But it's because it's designed as like a handheld game. It's not really, it was kind of weird playing it on PC. So, like, if I had it on like a Vita or PSP or whatever, playing it there, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. GTA, the original, loved it. Never finished it, but I did love it. I still think Joyride by the Shooters is one of the best songs that they've ever released. Then hopefully they'll put it in GTA 6. GTA 3, great. GTA 4, great. San Andreas didn't really get into it. Vice City was basically Scarface Simulator, and I loved it because Scarface is pretty much my favorite movie. And GTA 5, great. So just waiting for GTA 6. Hitman, the new episodes. I played the first couple of episodes. It was fun, but I need to go back to it at some point. So I just wasn't motivated to finish it. Mass Effect, the original one, played it a few hours, but the mistake I made basically is I ramped up to the higher setting because the live stream told me to, and I got stuck at a certain point. I couldn't go any further, so I gated myself from the game. So, oh well. Shadow of Mordor, it was fun. I did the first, like, I think there's 3 big zones. I did the first one, but it does become very repetitive, so that's why I didn't end up finishing it. Now, PewDiePie, Legend of the Brofist. I did actually really enjoy this game. I thought it was very, very well made. 2D platformer game. I actually finished it on stream. I thought it was good. You know, don't hurt me. I like the PewDiePie game. So, yeah, it was fun. So, I would say worth playing. Prospect is basically, this guy, Richard, he made what he would imagine Half-Life 3 to be using the Half-Life 2 engine. It was interesting. He worked on it for a while by himself. It was fun to play, and so on. So, but if we'll ever actually get a Half-Life 3, who knows? RimWorld, I played it for a couple of hours. It's the kind of 2D game. It's like the base builder, Kingdom of Castles, or They Are Billions sort of game. I need to play it more, that's for sure. I got access to a really early version of the game. I need to revisit at some point. Saints Row the Third is basically like GTA on crack. So maybe I'll revisit it one day, maybe I won't. But I might as well just stick to GTA. Subnautica is basically a base building game where you actually have to explore under the sea. So it's like Subnautica, it's like submarine game. So it was interesting, the sort of survival game, and you research different types of fish, and you have to collect resources, and you have to retrieve parts of your broken ship. That was why you ended up in the middle of the ocean to begin with, and so on and so on and so on. And it's just a good way to kill time, I suppose. Tales of Zestiria and Berseria. The Tales of series, really good. The only complaint I have about both of the games is that the skits or the cutscenes can drag on. They just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. It can be a burden, but otherwise, really fun. Like, fun game, fun combat, interesting world, interesting characters, and so on. Just cut down, Bandai, please. Just shorten the skits. They're too much. Then, The Division. Interesting game, great graphics, third-person shooter. It was fun, but it really gets repetitive, so that's why I binned it. Thief, I only played a couple of hours. I need to revisit. And part of the reason I only played a couple of hours is because, again, for the stupid reason, I ramped it up to the hardest setting, and then I just didn't bother playing it again. Valley is, like I said before, it's like a journey game. Watch Dogs, the original Watch Dogs, the story was good. The combat was fun and so on. The only main complaint I have about Watch Dogs is that when you're driving the cars, it feels like they weigh 5,000 tons. There is absolutely no control. If you're accelerating and you turn, there's nothing but understeer. So it makes it really, really annoying. But other than that, I thought it was okay. And maybe eventually I will go back to Watch Dogs 2. The reason I didn't stream it is because my GTX 970 can't handle the game. Simple as that. Journey, I've already said. Journey is just a journey game. You just enjoy it. Then we get maybe towards the older games I've played. So Aladdin on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis. Absolutely loved it. I've finished it multiple times. Loved it. Great game. It's worth checking out if you haven't seen it before as well. And I think they even speedrunned one of the Aladdin game before that one at Games Done Quick this year. And then the original Halo, loved it. GoldenEye, Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, all the classic N64 games, loved them all. Sega Rally, loved it because when I was a kid, I used to play it at the arcade all the time, along with games like Daytona USA and stuff like that. So I thought I'd mention it. Really enjoyed it, and I used to play it a lot on the Sega Saturn as well. Now, one of the original games I ever played, this is back in 1991, was the original Duke Nukem. And I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. I finished it. I loved it. At the time, I was like, what, 7? Because I was born in 1984, but I loved it anyway. It was such a good game. And then Prince of Persia, it was also one of the first games I ever played. I was so flippin' young. And I was like 5 when I played it, and you're supposed to finish the game in like an hour or something. It was too hard. I couldn't get past any of it at that age. But whatever, I did play it. And then Descent, I loved it. I didn't finish it, but I loved it at the time. It was basically you control like a little airship, and you have to fight your way through a bigger base and so on. And it was, for me, the first sort of real 3D type game I've ever played. So I really loved it for that reason. It was very fun to play. And then where are we? The original Doom. Loved it. Finished it a couple of times. Great. Wolf 3D. I never actually finished that. We're talking about the original Wolf 3D from the early 90s. I thought it was okay. I still remember the cheat code. I think you just had to hold MLI on the keyboard, and then you got basically max everything. Max health, max bullets, max machine guns, max everything. So I used to just do that and fight my way, and I still didn't finish it. And then June, I played that, God, on like an Acorn PC. I don't think they even exist anymore. And we only played that at school when the teacher wasn't looking. And yeah, so I doubt I'm going to revisit it, but it is a game I played. Minesweeper, Windows, yeah, 1989, woo. I've been playing it since. Wonderful game. Maybe the game I've played the longest. And then Hellblade Setsuna's Sacrifice. I played that last year. Absolutely loved it. Loved every second of it. It's kind of creepy though, because you delve into the mind of the main character and you explore her psychosis. You even hear all the voices in her head and so on. And it was worth playing. It was very, very good. You can even see my full playthrough on my YouTube channel. And then Crysis, the original one. Fun, great graphics, good shooter. Loved it. And then these ones I didn't bother putting a review or date or anything. Half-Life, Half-Life 2, go without saying. Some of the best shooters ever. Max Payne, loved it. It was basically, Max Payne is a third-person shooter, which really was, I think, the first to do the slow motion jump and shoot thing. When this was a time when the Matrix film first came out, and they were working on a Matrix game, but Max Payne basically just delivered the slow motion shooters better than Matrix did. The original Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 3, I played them. They were okay. I thought they were interesting. I don't think I finished Tomb Raider 3. I didn't finish the original Tomb Raider. Theme Hospital, Theme Park. I put a lot of hours into those games. Loved them. They were very fun. They're just basically like, in Theme Hospital, you're given a blank hospital and you have to run it successfully. You have to make rooms, patient rooms, reception, waiting areas. You have to maintenance clear up, if people throw up and stuff, you have to get them to clean up. Otherwise, the sick will make people feel bad, and so on and so on and so on. So it was really fun. SSX, snowboarding game, very fun. Completely unrealistic. It's an arcade, basically, snowboarding game. Very fun, worth checking out. Mario Kart 64, again, played it with friends when I was in school. Very fun. Motor Racer, very fun. It's just basically like a motorbike game. I enjoyed it at the time. But this is a game that came out in the 90s. And then Hidden and Dangerous, World War II game. I thought it was really good. The problem was, when it first came out, it was very, very glitchy and very full of bugs. But I think they fixed it, obviously, since then. But that was the thing that mainly took me away from the game, was that there could be moments when you'd fall through the floor. That's how poorly optimized it was. Power Slide, and Pod, they're just like racing games. I thought they were fun. The same with Star Wars Racer, played them all. Unreal Tournament, the original, loved it. I put so many hours into the game, online and offline. So with offline, it would just be me versus the NPCs on the hardest difficulty. But the problem was, I was like 14. So my reflexes were at their absolute peak. So I could, even with it being on the hardest setting, I could still just get like nothing but headshots, basically. Now I'm an old man. My reflexes are gone, so never mind. Soldier of Fortune 2, love them. I prefer Soldier of Fortune, the original one, more than number 2. It's a shooter game, and it can be quite graphic. So you can shoot off limbs, you can shoot out intestines and so on. But what was really fun about it, it was very, very fast paced. So when I played the online game, I used to even be in like clans at the time and play online versus other clans and so on. It was very, very fun. Absolutely loved it. Carmageddon 2 was just mayhem. The idea of Carmageddon 2 is just cause as much mayhem with the car as possible, so it was fun. Incoming was kind of like think Independence Day simulator. And that would be, I guess, in a way similar to Star Fox 64, or as it was called in the UK, Lilac Wars. And I played the original Bayonetta. Now, I can't really remember other games I've played. If it comes to mind, I will put it on this list. But this will work as a working document for the live stream, all games I've ever played, what I think of them, and so on. So if you want to check it out, please check it out in the description. Now, one thing I've also done in the second tab is to say which games I want to play in the future, which I haven't played yet or haven't been released yet, and so on. So let me very, very quickly go through the list. I'm not going to justify them. I'm just going to say the list and so on. So, Yakuza 0, Yakuza 6, Catherine Remaster, Ori and the Blind Forest sequel, whatever comes after it, Ni no Kuni 2, the God of War series, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, as in whatever comes after Rise of the Tomb Raider, Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, Divinity Original Sin 2, Infamous Second Son and the DLC, Detroit Become Human, the Red Dead Redemption series, Shadow of the Colossus Remaster, Death Stranding, Lost Soul Aside. Lost Soul Aside, if you don't know what it is made by... it was originally created by a Soul developer called Bing Yang, and he's now working with Sony to finish the game. But it looks really, really awesome. Ashes of Creation, UMMO, Doki Doki Literature Club. I might actually stream that tomorrow. Shadow of War, which is a sequel to Shadow of Mordor. Forza 7, Assassin's Creed Origins, Persona 5. Even if I can't stream it, I might just one day play it myself. Metal Gear Solid 5, the Dark Souls Remaster, and then go through the Dark Souls series, and Bloodborne. The Bayonetta series when it gets re-released on the Switch. I've ordered 1 and 2. I don't know when 3 comes out, but I want to play them all again. Bayonetta is really good. Gears of War series, never played them, but I want to try them out because it's been highly recommended to me. The Halo series, Sonic Mania, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Witcher series, Destiny 2, South Park, Stick of Truth, South Park, Fractured But Whole, even if it's just once. Beyond Two Souls, What Remains of Edith Finch, Dragon Quest Inquisition, Sea of Thieves, the Final Fantasy 13 games, because I didn't really give them time of day, Prey, Walking Dead Telltale series, Cuphead, Ratchet and Clank, the Tales of series, whatever comes after Berseria, and then we'll see in the future if there's a future Diablo. I do want to go back to World of Warcraft Classic. I did love Vanilla WoW, so I will check that out. And I will even make a guild for it. So if you're interested to come along, let me know. Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. I'm looking at it. I don't know if I'll play it, but I'm checking it out. Okay, I want to carry on the Ys series. So if there's a Ys 9, I'll be there. Hopefully. The Last Guardian, even if I just do it once. GTA 6. Final Fantasy 16, if there is one. Cyberpunk 2077. Anthem and Far Cry 5. So, as I say, guys, if there's any games that you can recommend for me that I should check out, or games that you remembered I've played but I just haven't written it down, then let me know and I'll keep updating this document. I will also link this document on my YouTube channel in the About section. So anyway, guys, I'm losing my voice after saying all that. Thank you for watching. Maybe this will give you some ideas of games to play if you haven't played them already. It is interesting and it was really fun making this list today. I am really happy that I did. So it's interesting to reflect on like 20 plus years of gaming, like how many games I've actually finished. It's actually kind of insane. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. As I said before, remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.